All right, everyone. Welcome into another live edition of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. I am Mike Kadlick, joined by 98.5 The Sports Hub's Alex Barth. We are here, Alex, to talk Patriots. We're here to talk free agency. Unfortunately, we don't have much good news to report back from the Patriots front today. We will get to all of it in this next hour or so please fill up the chat. We'll try and get to, talk with all you guys, let you guys maybe run it off a little bit, but we'll get to a bunch of news across the NFL today, including some things on Jakobi Meyers and whatnot. But first, I want to talk about FanDuel. FanDuel is the new exclusive wagering partner of CLNS Media Network. They are the new lead sponsor of the Patriots Beat podcast. And so, huge partnership here. That's the one good acquisition this week with CLNS and FanDuel pairing up. Betting is now legal in Massachusetts. So make sure, if you are a sports bettor, you can do us a solid and go to fanduel.com/Boston and deposit $10, make a $5 bet, and you will get $200 in bonus bets, $200 free bets, bonus bets that you can use on the NCAA tournament. You can use it on futures. Maybe you want to bet the Patriots to win the AFC East. I think they're 7+700 right now. Not very good odds, but hey, if you're a long shot bettor, then go for it. You can do that again, fanduel.com/Boston. Really helped out the show and keeps these airwaves rolling. So, Alex, let's get into it right off the top of the bat. We unfortunately lost a good one. The Patriots did, as they did not retain wide receiver Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers, the Patriots slot receiver, for the last couple of years now, he decided to sign with the Las Vegas Raiders. He's getting a 3-year, $33 million contract from Vegas. Average of about $11 million a year, but it's I know you can get into the nitty-gritty of the contract details, but it's basically a year-to-year deal. So $11 million per. A lot of reports out there, Alex, over the last month or so were that Jakobi was going to command anywhere from 12 to as high as 20 is what I heard at some point over the last 45 days. And so, yeah, they get him on, something rather cheap compared to what I thought he was going to go for. And I thought the Patriots could have matched it. Maybe this tells us that there's something else maybe cooking behind closed doors down in Foxborough on the receiver front. Maybe they go to the draft. But this was the big Patriots move of the day, or lack thereof, was Jakobi going to Las Vegas and reuniting with Josh.
Yeah, I kind of came in ready for them to get priced out on Meyers. Like you said, that $12 to $15 million number. I really thought it was going to be on the higher side of that. He comes in at 11 per, very little money guaranteed, at least initially. I don't like losing Meyers as a single entity is not necessarily bad for the Patriots. And I've said this before, they need to upgrade at that position. Not just wide receiver, but in the slot. And those snaps have to come from somewhere.
Right.
But they need to upgrade. So, I'm surprised they weren't in it at this money. And there was a report from Ian Rappaport this afternoon that was basically the Patriots said, we can't match that. They could have. I think it's more so we won't match that.
Right.
If that's the plan, fine. Or if that's the plan, fine. But how are you going to then go and spend that money?
Right.
All right. This is
got to be used.
Even call it, because they have to up the Raiders offer, right? It can't be 1-for-1. Call it $12 million a year. Where are you using that $12 million a year? You put that into somebody, another big contract, put that money elsewhere, or are they just going to sit on it? And if they just sit on it, it's a mistake, because having Jakobi Meyers is better than simply not addressing that position with a significant asset. And I would even say, if they're going to go to the draft, having Meyers would still be an asset, because this is a very crucial year. And for a team that has struggled to develop wide receivers, you're going to put a first-round pick in a really tough spot. And that kid's going to need to succeed immediately. Last time they had a receiver in a spot like that was N'Keal Harry.
Right.
So I don't feel good. I don't feel great about that. That being said, if they take this money, they go out, they trade for Jerry Jeudy, they use it to give him a long-term deal. They did what they needed to do. They upgraded. And it sucks. We all like Jakobi. And as a side note, I'm incredibly happy for him. Did all of this the exact right way. Think about the team he came to. They had Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon. They had added Antonio Brown a couple of weeks after he signed. They just used a first-round pick and a guy in N'Keal Harry. He's a UDFA.
Yep.
Played some his rookie year, but then really put his head down, worked his ass off to get better, becomes the leading receiver here for the next 3 years. was, I don't think ever really given his due credit, but kept his head up. The way he handled what happened in Vegas this year, all of it, a consummate professional,
And
a
there he
great
goes,
teammate.
right back to them.
Right. And that's bold on his part because that's going
Yeah.
to get that play back on the timeline. But a guy that deserves every single cent he has coming his way. Could not be happy for Jakobi. That being said, right? So, all right, if you take that money and you go and spend it, yeah, we all like Jakobi, but it's a business and they took that money and they used it to make the team better. Like, that's what you want here. So I'm not going to sit here and say they've destroyed their wide receiver core because they haven't yet. If it's May 1st and this is still the group, I'm going to come back to this move and say, why the hell weren't they in on it?
Right.
They decimated their group. So and I know this, people are going to say this, I don't want to bash the team and I'm just making excuses. No, I'm just saying this is half the picture. We sat here last night and did a show saying we kind of felt good about where things were because Jakobi hadn't signed elsewhere yet. Like, this is how it works. It's a process.
Yeah, the dominoes didn't fall in the wide receiver market yet.
Right. We could come back tomorrow and Judy and Hopkins and Sutton and all these guys could have been dealt to other teams. And then it's really time to start ripping your hair out.
Right.
We could come back and none of those guys could have moved and we could still be here sitting. I don't know. As it stands right now, I still think at wide receiver, the path is there for the Patriots. They do what they need to do this offseason. But the cost of making those moves has only gone up.
Right.
And the margin for error has only shrunk.
Right.
So that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, I tend to agree, right? It's like, okay, you let Jakobi walk. You still still have to repair the room. So repair the room. You can't make the room can't go back to where it was, right? Like you can't make a lateral move with Jakobi.
Right. So let me say this.
You need to get better now that he's gone.
Even if they had given Jakobi Meyers this contract, I would be sitting here right now saying, okay, what's the next move at wide receiver? And as Mike cuts out there, probably pivot more towards DeAndre Hopkins at that point, a boundary guy with, and I think we've lost Mike, but somebody please screen grab that.
Oh, God, I'm back.
Maybe if they signed Myers, we pivot more towards Hopkins, a boundary guy with Myers playing in the slot. But like, if they'd signed Myers, I'd still be sitting here saying, what's the next move? So it doesn't change much. It's just the urgency to make that move at wide receiver only becomes more urgent.
Am I back?
Yes.
What was the screen grab?
Somebody tweeted at him. I'm sure somebody grabbed it.
Okay. I lost it. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Something going on with my Wi-Fi, but we're back. So yeah, again, some of what you said, Alex, but they need to make the room better. They can't just be like that.
Yeah, I know. So what I was saying was that even if they'd re-signed Myers, I'd still be sitting here saying, is DeAndre Hopkins still in play? Can 100%. They go get DeAndre Hopkins?
Right. So now they have to make 2 moves instead of 1. Really?
I still think they can make 1, but like it could have been, they could have re-signed Jakobi, and maybe it's not Hopkins, but somebody else, right? Maybe like 1 tier down.
Yeah, okay.
A guy like Corey Davis, right? Who we think now is going to get cut from the Jets.
Right.
You know, Myers and yeah, Davis, you bring back Myers, you're doing okay. Let's see what you do in the draft.
Right.
Now it's got to be one of these top tier guys. It has to be Hopkins. It has to be Judy. Maybe it's a guy we don't know is available yet, but a guy like that.
That's sort of what, like, it's too bad that, you know, it had to come out this way because that was Mac's guy. I mean, he was the leading receiver on the Patriots.
So there's that element of it too.
It's like, okay, so I have the numbers in front of me. He caught 150 balls for 1,670 yards and 8 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons from Jones. He was the security blanket. He was the guy they were able to run the offense through, or lack thereof an offense last year. But they still had the rapport. He trusted Jakobi. And so now you have to not only repair the room, but you have to bring in a guy that Mac can use as that security blanket, or that not so much a go up and get it guy, but a guy who Mac can look to on 3rd down and be like, this is where I know I can go. And they lost that now in Jakobi. So you need to make sure you have that, you know, that better move. So how do they do it? That's sort of where I'm going. Let's touch on that, Alex, because you have Jerry Jeudy who's out there. You have Hopkins, you have Jeudy, but you can also go to the draft and guys like Zay Flowers, you know, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Where should they, or where do you think they go? Because I guess what makes sense now, because now you're looking at Devontae Parker, you look at Kendrick Bourne,
and
Tyquan Thornton, and that's really the core you're dealing with here.
veteran true slot receiver.
Okay.
Whether that's Jerry Jeudy, does Hunter Renfrow become available? Do they see overlap in Vegas between Renfrow and Meyers? Maybe McDaniels wants to play them both. Like, there's a way that could work too. But I also kind of feel like McDaniels is trying to tear down that roster and get his guys in there, because outside of the fact that Darren Waller refused to play for him because he exposed his wedding to the media, I don't see
stuff.
And by the way, look, that Vic Taffer on Twitter has that story. Outstanding. I see no reason why you make that trade. Honestly, for the Raiders, this signing doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, I get it in the sense that, Jakobi Meyers is familiar with that system, and Josh probably likes him. And by the way, this goes back to something I said last night, right? About Josh McDaniels is panicking because he didn't get Brady or Rodgers, and now is just trying to go to what's familiar instead of maybe trying to build out a talented roster.
I wouldn't leave Dave Ziegler out of this either, though, because it's but the two of them, Dave Ziegler.
Oh, when I say Josh McDaniels, it represents like the Josh McDaniels administration. Yes, that's a fair point. It's a good point. Thank you. But the point being, like, I don't really get this for them. So maybe they're selling off pieces. Like, if Hunter Renfrow is available, that's
they just sold one in Waller.
I'd imagine his value is going to be comparable to Waller's. He's probably worth a little bit more, but that was it was a third round pick. That was the 100th pick, right? It was the pick the Giants got for trading Kadarius Toney. Patriots have the 76th pick in the third round. Like, that's actually worth sneaky a lot more than the 100th.
Yeah.
Does that get it done? I would do that. And maybe you throw on one of those 6th round picks you have. 3rd and a 6th for Hunter Renfrow. You have a year of team control under him. He's a scheme fit again. He's proven he can produce in the league. Yeah.
I still would want a little bit bigger of a splash.
I'm not saying that would be my favorite move in the world, but when you're talking about straight up a pick for a player, this is what I always ask myself. Is the receiver you're going to, especially this year, in a year that I think is must win for the Patriots, and you can't really look ahead and be like, hey, this guy's going to be great in 3 or 4 years. At least not, you can't do that with your top 100 picks.
Right.
Is any receiver you take at 76 going to do more for you in 2023 than Hunter Renfrow? I certainly don't think so. Right.
But you can't look at, wouldn't want to look at a draft pick in a vacuum like that, though. Like, the 76th pick is worth more than just the 2022 season. Or the 2023 season.
I don't think they have the luxury to view it that way. They have to win this year, because or at the very least, they have to put a competitive offense together. Because if you don't put pieces around Mac Jones, you're back to square one.
But if that is
if you're Bill, like, where's Bill at right now? Three playoff misses in 4 years, no playoff wins in 5 years. They've got to win.
Yeah,
they can't do another bridge year. They just turned what should have been the least bridge year of all time into a bridge year. They cannot go back to another bridge year.
I still have a hard time with Belichick on the hot seat. I do. I get it. But I still think,
forget Belichick being on the hot seat, though. Forget that.
Well, that's what we're insinuating. We can call it...
Okay, so maybe a little bit, and that's fair. I did insinuate that. But let's even step back from that. Forget that they're the Patriots. It's year 3 of a quarterback on a rookie deal. Any team in the league.
100%. True.
Right. If any team did that, if the Jets did that, if the Browns did that, if the Broncos did that, if the Cowboys did, if any other team did that, Mike, we would sit here and say that they're being irresponsible with their assets, that you don't bridge year a rookie quarterback in his 3rd year, especially a guy that's actually shown you something. Like, with the Jets, it's different. Zach Wilson showed them nothing at all ever. The reality is the Patriots aren't making the move the Jets are making right now to go get Aaron Rodgers. So you remain in on that rookie quarterback. It is too soon to tear the whole thing down.
So that's why I want them to do more than Hunter Renfrow.
Okay, so
that's kind of the point I'm making.
That's totally fair, and I'm glad you brought that up. Like,
right,
I think Judy's a bigger hit than Renfrow. I think Hopkins is a bigger hit than Renfrow. I wouldn't sit here and say trading a 3rd for Hunter Renfrow is a bad move. That's kind of my point. It's like, if that's the move they make, it's a hell of a lot better than nothing. And it could be a lot worse. But I'm with you in that, where I hope they swing higher as well. I agree with you on that 100%.
Right. If we want to use the facts that it is a 3rd-year quarterback going into his 4th, or a quarterback going into his 3rd season, right before the 5th-year option has to kick in, a real year that a lot of teams have used this model work him in 2 years, then go get him a guy to really work with. We talk about it at nauseum on the show, but I don't want that to be Hunter Renfrow. I want it to be Jerry Jeudy is kind of my point, or DeAndre Hopkins. So again,
I'm with you on that.
You're with me, but I would agree that going to get Renfrow for 76 would be better than trotting out Devontae Parker and Kendrick Bourne next season. Obviously, we'll see where that goes. They could also go to the draft with guys Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I'm curious to see how they go from there. But let's talk Philip Dorsett, I guess. We'll finish with the Raiders. Dorsett we talked about yesterday. Cannot believe Philip Dorsett is a guy who is agreeing to terms before Wednesday at 4 p.m. But good on him, good on his agent. Philip Dorsett is also going to the Raiders. So like you said, it looks like Ziegler and McDaniels really want to tear it down and build up Patriots West. Patriots had interest, ultimately didn't get it done. I don't believe the numbers are out on Dorsett's contract yet. I could be wrong on that. But Dorsett goes back and reunites with McDaniels as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's minimum. By the way, future Raider or Texan Devin Asiasi. Which way are we leaning on that one? Because the Texans signed somebody today that was like, of course. And it was a former Patriot.
They traded for Shaq Mason.
That's what it was. That's right. Yep. So they're in an arms race there. Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene. We'll see where those two guys end up. But as for Dorsett, look, I think there's something to be said. Philip Dorsett, I don't think people realize what a smart football player he is. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said for having that guy in the room, especially if you're going to have a young quarterback. And I still maintain the Raiders are going to take a quarterback 7th overall. I still believe that. Having a wide receiver around like that helps. And by the way, Jakobi Meyers, also very smart wide receiver. And maybe that's the idea. You're just getting guys that are going to help this quarterback, whoever it is. It's going to be Will Levis, but whoever it is, get his feet wet in the NFL. So I assume it's short money. I hardly believe he's a roster lock. Like you, I am surprised he signed this early too. But we've seen this at the quarterback position for years, right? Like Andy Dalton signed today.
That was interesting too with Carolina, right?
Mike White's probably not a good example. Like Andy Dalton signed today. Sam Darnold signed on day one. I bet we're going to see Matt Ryan sign soon. He got cut today because teams want, and you look at the teams they signed with. Sam Darnold signed with the Niners, who Trey Lance is essentially going to be a rookie. I know he's going to his 3rd year.
And he also hasn't played because he missed a COVID year with North Dakota State, which is fascinating. He's barely played football.
You have the Panthers, who we all assume it's not to at this point take a quarterback with the 1st overall pick.
Yep.
So, Andy Dalton's not going to start there, but you get a veteran guy in the room. Like, I think you're starting, and that's kind of been Brian Hoyer here. That's been business for years around the NFL. I think you've seen in the last couple of years at other positions, you've seen teams take that approach. And that to me what Philip Dorsett is. You just get a smart guy, a guy who's been around the league, is experienced in the offense, just get him in the room as kind of like another coach. And, if he has a good camp, maybe he makes the team, and you can keep veterans on your practice squad now. So maybe he's a guy you keep around on the practice squad in that role. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Like, I'm not super surprised to see him sign. I'm a little surprised to see him this early, but like, it's not as jarring to me that he was getting interest as maybe some people suggested.
Yeah, I suppose. At the end of the day, it is Philip Dorsett, a guy who sort of was he was a first-round pick with Indy however many years ago. Traded straight up for Jakobi Brissett to come to New England. Is that correct? Yeah, so that was interesting in itself. And then it fizzled out compared to what he was supposed to be coming out of Miami. But he goes Patriots West as well. Another quick Patriots signing that they actually made today. Small one, actually, before we get to that, I want to talk about something that I just pulled up about a Hunter Renfrow trade, and that it's not anything that happened, but Doug Hyde from A to Z Sports tweeted today that, and this is where I'm pulling it from, a team that would acquire Hunter Renfrow in a trade before Friday takes on a 2-year, $23 million contract. After Friday would be 2 for 19. So, I mean, you're only saving $4 million over 2 years, but money's money, especially against this cap. And so maybe a trade doesn't happen until after Friday.
The Rams trade Jalen Ramsey to save $6 million.
Yeah, right. So again, it's like maybe I don't know if I guess you could look at it both ways, where Vegas will try and dump him before Friday to get $4 million more off the table, but at the same time, a team like New England might wait until after Friday in order to save $4 million. So
Yeah.
I guess that sort of depends on where that comes from. But anyway, the other the smaller Patriots one, and then we'll get to the big move on the offensive line was Miles Bryant. Miles Bryant, defensive back. So the Patriots have added 2 defensive backs now in free agency. They re-signed John Jones yesterday, and today they tendered Miles Bryant at the right of refusal level for a restricted free agent, and so he'll come back
to the lowest level.
Yeah, it's the lowest level, and so he is on a 1-year, $2.6 million deal, unless another team signs him to an offer sheet, and the Patriots have the ability to match that. Correct? Is that how that works? I believe, right?
Correct. Yes. So he
okay.
get or the Patriots can sign him to a long-term deal, as like they
correct.
Can
yes, they can outbid. Yeah, right. So that's where that's at. I don't think anyone's going to come calling for Miles Bryant. So Patriots bring him back. $2.6 million.
We do have some breaking news though.
Okay.
Caleb McGarry. So the last of that top tackle group we talked about, at least top right tackle group, is off the board. Okay. Caleb McGarry, 3 years, $34 million. That hurts.
That does. Okay, so some breaking-ish news. Yeah, that's another guy who could have been a Patriots target because they continue to need offensive line help. We'll get to the offensive lineman they signed, but okay, so he goes for 34 years or $34 million.
34 for life.
Yeah.
Falcon. I don't even know if I said where he was going. He's going back to the Falcons. I don't know if I said that.
Falcon for life. Yep.
Falcon for life. Yeah.
He is going back to the Falcons. Yeah, he's signing back with the Falcons 3 years, 34. That's a deal the Patriots could have done as well. Man, okay. Interesting. Do you want to get back into Bryant, or do you want to talk McGarry and where they go? Because that's another guy off the table.
I mean, I think the chat maybe wants us to get into this. So
okay. Yeah, McGarry gone. Okay, so right tackle, let's talk about what they did today then, which was they signed Calvin Anderson, who's to a 2-year deal from the Broncos. So Calvin Anderson, 2-year deal, former Bronco. He is signed with the Patriots a few years ago as an undrafted free agent. Went to Denver, started 7 games for them. He started on both sides of the ball. I don't project him out to be a starter, but it sounds like maybe he'll have a chance to compete for a job depending on what they do. But I see him and I see Connor McDermott as 2 guys who will compete / be their sort of backup tackles, which is good to have. But I don't think Calvin Anderson's a big enough splash in free agency where you're looking at this and saying, okay, they filled one hole. This was a depth move to me, and I like it because it's something, but they still need to do more, which is why I think Caleb McGarry would have been a good signing for them on top of Calvin Anderson.
Yeah, this move's a lot more fun next week, or like if they'd signed a tackle already, because they needed depth. And I say this all the time. Getting a true swing tackle is incredibly valuable. It's a lot harder to play both left and right tackle than people think. That's what happened with Marshall Newhouse when he was here. Like, he never played on the left side before, and they put him at left. And if you don't get the difference, try writing your name with your right hand, and then try writing your name with your left hand. Or I guess if you're left-handed, do it the other way and see which one's easier, right? Like, whichever way, it's easier at guard because you're moving both ways more often. As a tackle, your first step's almost always to the outside. So if you move to the other side, you're like completely reversing your whole operation. Guys that can play on both sides, like, can actually do it, not just that plug in there, incredibly valuable. So they haven't had a guy like that since Adrian Waldo, really. I know Trent Brown can, but he's a starter. He's not a guy you're bringing in to back up like that. So getting a guy in Calvin Anderson like that, I think, is valuable, and they need the tackle depth. And I think between him and Connor McDermott, they've got 2 really good backup tackles. But who's starting? Because, is it Trent on the right side and Anderson on the left? He really, he started 8 games last year, 12 in his career. He's relatively unproven. Maybe there's some upside there, but that's a huge swing. Yeah. You're going to bank on him being the starter. If it's Trent Brown on the left side, I don't think Anderson's a right tackle, especially not in their system. Like, he's more athletic. He really just needs to be coached up. We're going to see what Adrian Clem can do with him. Right. But, is it Trent on the left side, McDermott on the right? We saw that last year. It was fine. Again, if they draft a kid in the first round, suddenly I feel a lot better about this. But it just felt like a position where there was so much available in free agency. It could have been set it and forget it. And we're still going to have, because even if you draft a kid in the first round, like he can have upside, but that's never a sure thing. They're going to go into camp with tackle questions now. That's just the reality of it.
They need to potentially really think about going to get Orlando Brown here, Alex.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. And honestly, this isn't even a Patriots thing.
Uh-huh.
There was the report that he views himself as a left tackle. He wants to get paid as a left tackle.
Yeah.
But teams around the league view him as a right tackle. And I think the Patriots probably view him as a right tackle. You don't pay a right tackle, left tackle money. Like, it's not even a Patriots, Bill's being cheap. It's not that.
Right.
Like, no team's going to do that. Clearly, because if a team is going to do it, he'd be signed right now.
Right.
So unless they can get him to take, like, if they can get him to take right tackle money, yes, they should be leading in the bidding for right tackle money. I don't think the market is going to dictate him getting left tackle money. And I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen, rather than him breaking and agreeing to a right tackle contract, is I think a team is going to let him try to play left tackle and say, we're going to bring you in, we'll give you high-end right tackle money, low-end left tackle money. We're going to try you at left tackle, see how that works out. But if it doesn't, we're going to move you back to the right side. Would the Patriots be in on that? Maybe. And they do have the flexibility of Trent Brown on the other side where they can do that.
Right.
But, all right, here we go. You still have questions at tackle. Who's playing where?
Yeah, I know. Then you're just flip-flopping whatever guy. One guy plays a poor game, then you try and flip them, and then vice versa. And so,
yeah,
it's I get that too, but
it's a unique situation, and I would hope they explore it. But him not
do something though. We got to do something. Like
him not signing yet is a red flag to me for him.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Let me put it this way.
But the Patriots not signing anyone is more of a red flag. Than
I am going to be more of the McGarry one's what's going to kill me.
Yeah.
McGlinchey went for crazy money. Fine. Okay. Juwan Taylor went for, like, again, they probably could have been competitive at that. That's a pretty high contract. So I saw what those guys went, and I'm thinking, wow, McGarry, Dillard, that second group is going to get paid. Thought Dillard's deal was very doable, and they were reportedly in on that. And McGarry comes in with similar money. And relatively, it's more because he plays right tackle. Dillard's going to play left. But what was it, 34 over 3?
34
is that what it was?
Over 3, yep.
34 and a half over 3. So we don't know what's guaranteed yet, but still, $11 million a year for a starting right tackle, doable.
It's pretty good.
That feels doable.
For a guy like McGarry.
Again, Orlando Brown, like, yeah, he wouldn't be the worst signing in the world, but I'm not going to necessarily fault them over that one because they need sure things. I know there's no such thing as a sure thing in the NFL, but they can't have, they can't come out on offense with 6 positions that have question marks.
Right.
And Orlando Brown, even with what his upside is, might be a question mark. McGarry, plug and play at right tackle. Dillard, there's still some questions there, but could potentially be plug and play. Those are the ones that are going to eat at me, more so than them potentially missing on Orlando Brown.
Fair. I agree with you.
You can be frustrated they haven't done anything. Like, that's totally valid. I'm frustrated they didn't do anything at tackle. I thought it was set up perfect for them to make a move at tackle.
Sign one, draft one. Soda.
But, they did sign one technically. They did sign one technically. McGarry and Dillard, missing on McGarry and Dillard bugs me more than missing on McGlinchey and Juwan Taylor and maybe even Orlando Brown.
Yeah. Let's talk about FanDuel. I got to get over the tackles, so we'll do it by talking about something I enjoy doing much more than talking about the Patriots not signing tackles, and that is sports betting, Alex. In Massachusetts, listen up because the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in the Commonwealth. New customers in Mass can get in on the action with us with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 wager. All you have to do is sign up at fanduel.com/Boston. It's right under us. You can see it here, fanduel.com/Boston. You can bet on all your favorite sports from the money line, point spreads, player props. They have same-game parlays. They have them already loaded up for you. It's super easy and more, stuff like that, because you get your $200 in bonus bets, and the interface is super simple, nice and bright for you, unlike some of the other apps. And you literally just toggle over your bonus bets, and you can bet $200 You can bet $3 of it on anything you want, whether it's, like I said, a parlay, player props, anything like that. It's all on FanDuel. You can use it on futures. You can bet on the Patriots to win the division if you so choose. I think you can even bet on Mac Jones passing yards for the season. So maybe you're into something like that. But it's super easy. It's super fun. So don't miss your chance to go get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just visit fanduel.com/Boston and make every moment more on America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in Mass. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Hope is here. GamblingHelplineMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. So again, if you could do us a favor and you haven't signed up for FanDuel yet in Mass, do it through this link, fanduel.com/Boston. All right, Alex. So yeah, they still need help at tackle. But yeah. I'm with you. I want you to. Did you mention? I'm drawing a blank now with where we were at with Calvin Anderson. Just sort of how he was and how he performed in Denver while he was there. Because he's a swing tackle, but he's sort of. I feel like you tweeted something about where he was at as far as pass protection and things like that. So I feel like he had a decent showing when he had to play and protect Russell Wilson this year.
Yeah, so I mean, physically he's an impressive guy, 6'5", 310. He moves very well. Like, he's an athlete. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of the new mold at tackle. I think people around here like to say, like, oh, like Nate Solder. Like, yeah, you're heading in the right direction there.
Breaking Patriots news.
Oh boy.
Adam Schefter, New England.
You seem frustrated.
No, it's fine. It's nothing major, but New England is re-signing safety Jabril Peppers to a 2-year deal.
That's actually a good move. Peppers was good for them last year.
Yep.
And they're going to miss McCourty, and he's a leader in the secondary. Good move.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. So, I no if, and, or but, or context, or this or that. Well, I guess let's see the money. But it's not going to be a lot. Solid move.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, solid move. McCourty's gone. You bring Jones back. You bring Bryant back. You're sort of putting that secondary back together, sans McCourty, which I think is a plus because you're missing a guy there. So, yeah, I think Peppers, he obviously, as we know, more of a box safety than free, but he can sort of play all over the place and did a pretty good job. He's also he's versatile. I mean, they can use him, in a bunch of different ways. And so I like the signing. You said I'm frustrated. I'm not frustrated. It's just repetitive, right? And they're still taking care of their own. Maybe, and I know they might have wanted to see how the market went with with McCourty and with Jesse Bates and guys like that. Maybe they wanted to get into one of those guys. So this maybe wasn't a deal that they could have done before today. But again, it feels more so like housekeeping than it is a real solid improvement.
Well, Peppers might have wanted to see what was out there as well.
That's fair.
So I'm not going to fault them for the timeline. He's actually, there were very few guys I thought were must re-sign this offseason. Like, for all we talked about Jakobi, I never felt like they had to re-sign Jakobi Meyers to have a great offseason. I never felt like they had to re-sign Jonathan Jones to have a great offseason. Pound for pound, Peppers, I think, coming back is a bigger deal than Jonathan Jones.
Yeah.
Because, like we talked about this before, Jakobi Meyers coming back, you still need to make an addition at receiver. Jonathan Jones coming back, they still need that size at corner. Julius Peppers is a pretty unique player.
Yeah.
You're not really replacing him if he leaves. And I'm not saying he plays a big role, but that role had an impact late that year. As he kind of became more familiar with the defense and he got healthy, he started really kind of becoming a chess piece for them. So good signing. Good signing.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm trying to put it back up and tell our folks on Twitter to come react to it with us because, again, reacting to the breaking news that Patriots re-signed Peppers.
Yeah.
I still want more in secondary, frankly.
Oh, they're not done. They're not done, but like, I
guess it's already me being a Debbie Downer, but
I'm kind of good. I'm kind of good where they're at safety right now. I'm not gonna lie. And I wouldn't turn my nose at Jordan Poyer if he's available, but you got Phillips in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Duggar is your rover. Peppers is a rover. You move Jonathan Jones or Jalen Mills back there to play free.
Yeah.
As long as they add a big corner, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's not 2017. It's not 2019. But I don't hate it. Again, pending the money.
Right, pending the money. We'll see what happens with them. With
But
the cash.
I saw somebody say in the chat 10 million a year, and I thought I realized it was about something else. But
what was it about?
I have no idea, but it wasn't about Peppers. If they give Peppers 10 million a year, I reserve the right to change my mind.
Yes, but, I would agree. No, good sign.
Overall, like he can play.
A good move.
Can play. Yep. And by the way, too, let's face it, they're probably gonna have the least talented roster, just pure roster talent in the AFC East. That doesn't mean that they're the worst constructed roster, because I think the Jets roster kind of makes no sense.
It's interesting. I want to get to that
individually.
Yeah.
But how do you kind of punch above your weight class? Physicality. You lay the hammer. You let the other team know you're there. You hit.
Yeah.
Jabril Peppers, I mean,
that guy can hit.
He can hit, and he likes to hit. Yeah. He is a tone setter, and they need that on this defense. So, again, good signing.
Good signing.
Good signing. Good job.
Good signing. Still want more. Anyway.
Yes.
So, yeah. I also, as far as them reconfiguring that the defensive backfield with the Jalen Mills tweet yesterday, right, saying that he can play all over the place, which I love. I mean, I don't think that was a knock towards the Patriots. I thought that was just him saying, yeah, everyone was sort of bringing up Jonathan Jones moving to safety, and Mills might have been kind of just saying like, hey, I'm still here. I was a good safety in Philly, and I liked him playing safety in Philly more than I did him at corner in Philly. I thought he was better when he was a safety for the Eagles. And so that could be, like we said, another move as well for them in the defensive backfield. But overall, adding Peppers back to it, it's a good move. That's what we'll call it. It's a good quality housekeeping move for the Patriots.
Look, not every move has to be giving a tackle $80 million or trading for an all-pro wide receiver. Like, you can't just do those either. You need to
100%.
You need depth, and Calvin Anderson, Jabril Peppers, they're making the depth signings.
Yep.
Can we just address the top of the roster now?
Yep. Let's go get that wide receiver, Alex.
Right.
All right. I want to talk about the Jets. Do you want to talk about the Jets, or do you have any more Patriot stuff? I want to talk about the Jets first.
I'll just real quick, because we kind of got interrupted. I think we've tried to do this like 3 times. We've gotten interrupted by it. So Calvin Anderson, right?
Yeah.
Good athletic tackle. I think in their scheme, more of a left tackle. I'm only playing him at right, like in an emergency situation, like he can do it. It saves you. Remember last year when they were going to play James Ferentz at left tackle? Like, it almost came to that. Like, prevents that situation totally. I think there's tremendous value in that. It's going to be a lot on Adrian Waddle. I mean, a lot of the knocks on him coming out were technique based, and it's still kind of the same thing. So can they get him coached up? But he should make the team, I think, as a backup tackle. I'm going to be a little bit worried if they start him. But great backup tackle, below average starting tackle. It's kind of where they're at. And I think at left tackle, they know they need to aim higher. It will be interesting if he ends up in the mix at right tackle, because if he does win a starting job, it's going to be on the right side, even though he's probably better on the left side. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. They do have now, though, between him and Trent Brown, there is some flexibility. I still think Connor McDermott is only a right tackle.
Yeah.
But between him and Trent Brown, they do have some flexibility, and they do have 4 tackles signed now, which is nice.
Right. The one thing I look at with just that position as a whole, this isn't necessarily just on Calvin Anderson, but and I know it's Tuesday, so I guess we need to, hold our horses a little bit, because, again, nothing's official even until Wednesday, right? These are all just reported signings. But I went into this offseason with really tackle and wide receiver as the 2 big holes.
Yeah.
It may be corner, but really wide receiver and tackle, 2 biggest holes on the team.
Those were one, like corner was 3rd, but it was there's a gap after 1 and 2. Yeah.
Right. And so I was of the mindset, and look, I know we're not in the front office, but I was sort of in the mindset that they would go and get a high-end receiver or a high-end tackle in free agency. And then they would move to the draft at the end of April and use the 14th pick on whatever they didn't fill in free agency.
Yeah.
We're simply running out of players, and we're running out of time, and running out of leverage at this point for the Patriots, which is that's the tough part. I mean, they can still go get Judy, and they can still go
I
get
wouldn't say
Hopkins.
they're running out of players at wide receivers. Maybe a little early for that, but you're on the right track. Like, I don't disagree with your like thesis.
Yeah, and so
honestly, a tackle, are they running out, or have they run out?
that's the thing. Like, there's nothing unless it's Orlando Brown. It's Orlando Brown Jr.
Okay, yeah, true. I forgot about Orlando Brown.
But
yeah.
that's it. That's the one major move at tackle. Otherwise, you now are required almost to go get, not required, but you got to go get Hopkins or Judy, and you're losing your leverage because now Jakobi's gone, and you haven't jumped in on the move yet, and so that's what's bothering me with this offseason. It's like Calvin Anderson's great, but I would have rathered them go the McGarry route or go Orlando Brown. So we'll see where it goes.
The two signings should not have been mutually exclusive. There's room for them.
Fair.
Like, there's room for them to sign. No, but I mean, this proves your point. Like,
yeah,
they always need, even if they had signed Mike McGlinchey or Jawan Taylor or Caleb McGarry, like, they still needed a Calvin Anderson as well.
Exactly. Right.
You needed a starter and needed a backup. The question, and look, if they had signed the starter, not signed the backup, it's annoying, but all right, you get to it in the draft. Mm-hmm. Question now is, did they sign the backup to fill the starter role? Yeah. That's kind of what we're left wondering at this point.
Man, if that is the case, that's going to be it's going to be heartbreaking. It's going to be tough to see. But
do you put Donovan Smith in that top class or no? I've seen people kind of go both ways on him.
I would put him like squarely in the middle of Orlando Brown Jr. and Calvin Anderson.
Well, then that's a no. Then he's not in the top group.
Yeah, so right, sure. Yeah,
I agree with you, but I've seen some people kind of shoehorn him into that top group. I don't know. He had a rough year last year.
But it's still better than nothing. Like, yes. If they do it, I'm okay with it because it means they're kicking tires and it means they have their sights set on something.
Yes.
So that's a plus for me, honestly. I don't want them to go overpay for someone or go sign someone just to sign them, which people kind of assumed that Belichick was just signing to sign people in the 2021 season. Where, I don't necessarily agree with that, but if you think that Donovan Smith can fill a hole for you and you like the player, then go sign him, go get him. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Let's talk Jets. I want to hit on them because it looks like Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is increasingly...
it's happening. It's happening. Why do we have to play this game?
Well, because it's funny, right? Like it's
not. It's annoying.
He has this wish list, so you don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. He has this wish list.
I'm happy to rip him.
Perfect. He has this wish list, and it's Lazard. It's who is there now? Lazard signed a 4-year, $44 million deal, $22 million guaranteed, similar to the Jakobi Meyers deal with basically a year attached on. The logistics of it are not as similar, I would assume, but $11 million per, 21, 22 guaranteed. Just another year attached to Lazard. So he's already there in New York. Trade seems imminent, and that's not the one I was looking for. He has this wish list of guys: Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, all former Packers, and Odell Beckham Jr. He now wants there as well. So that came from Diana Rossini today from ESPN. And look, if he doesn't end up there, that's hilarious. If he's like, you know what, I'm just going back to Green Bay, but it wouldn't really make any sense.
This entire offseason will be a win.
So at that point, the reason I think he would stay in Green Bay in general before all this wish list stuff came out is because of the players there. As much as people rip Aaron Rodgers, he seems like a decent teammate to these guys and they enjoy his presence and they like him as a leader.
I don't know about that.
Aaron Jones has said a lot of good things. Rasul Douglas has said a lot of good things. Alan Lazard knows that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Jets, and he decided to sign there. Randall Cobb.
Devontae Adams chose to play with Derek Carr.
He's friends with Derek Carr. So that's okay.
Friends with Aaron Rodgers too.
Of course, but no, I don't think Devontae.
I don't forget he has to bring Randall Cobb along with him because he refuses to talk to the receivers personally. Do they want to play with Aaron Rodgers? Play with Aaron Rodgers? Do they want to play with Aaron Rodgers because they know they're going to put up numbers and then go get paid again?
Mercedes Lewis isn't putting up numbers to go get paid.
That's fair.
And Alan Lazard signed a 4-year deal. And so, anyway, point being, like I said, I think the guys, like him in Green Bay, and if he were to move them all there and then decide, you know what, I am going to go back, that would be crazy. It would be hilarious, like you said, but I don't see it happening. But what do you make of the wish list?
What was Packers' record last year again?
I think they were like 8
Oh
and
yeah,
9.
it was 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Granted, their defense was not what the Jets defense is. It was a top half defense. I believe they finished 12th in the league in scoring. Jets were 4th. But what was Pat? Let me pull this up. Packers offense last year was 14th. So you're just bringing the 14th ranked offense with you over like
No, they also you have Garrett Wilson and you have a better offensive line, I would say, and a better running. Maybe not a better running back.
I don't think you have a better running back.
Yeah, you're
offensive line's comparable. Like, I guess you add Garrett Wilson, but like a lot of these guys, are they going to play? Right? I would have thought the Jets had a pretty good complement of assets. Now, Beckham
So did I.
Beckham maybe changes things, but like, also this group couldn't keep Aaron Rodgers engaged last year. He was complaining that he couldn't get any weapons. And now he's bringing all the weapons he had in Green Bay with. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Besides Christian Watson, yeah.
Right, besides Christian Watson, who's probably their best receiver last year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I said this last night. I'm still kind of on this of this belief that if everything goes right, this is a brilliant move for the Jets and they're going to be excellent. But is everything going to go right? Because has anything gone right with Aaron Rodgers in the last 3 or 4 years? Anything he's been involved in? It's all falling apart because he gets disinterested like that. And that's not just football, by the way. It applies to his personal life as well. Yeah. He doesn't seem super invested. And if he checks out, again, you just have the 2022 Packers who finished 8 and 9 with a slightly better defense. So call it 9 and 8, 10 and 7. And like, all right, maybe you get to the playoffs. You're not a contender with that. You've got to keep Aaron Rodgers somehow engaged for 18, 21 weeks, whatever you want to call it. I just think that's a tough sell. And you're bringing the guys that couldn't keep him invested last year. I don't know. I see what they're doing, and I don't necessarily think they have a better choice. I don't disagree with what they're doing as a whole. If I'm the Jets, I'm probably making the same decision they are. I don't know, maybe pushing back on a little bit of that wish list. But I don't think it's this slam dunk Super Bowl move that some people are portraying it to be.
Quick shout out to Rocket Money, Alex, before I give my thoughts on the Packers and the Jets.
I'll add this too. Somebody pointed out he went 13-3 the 3 years before going 8-9, and then they traded Davante Adams. If Davante Adams was going with him to Green Bay or to New York, I would feel a lot differently. But he's not. So look, they could very well go 13-3 this year. But is he going to stay engaged for the full season? I don't know. If he does, he's tremendously talented. He went back-to-back MVPs before last year. The upside's clearly there. Again, I would do it. I think this is the Jets. Well, I think their best course of action is to try to get Lamar Jackson, but they're not going to do that because nobody's going to do that. So we'll put that to the side. I think this is their best course of action. I would do the exact same thing they're doing. I just don't think it's not. We talked about Russell Wilson. It reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson. We talked about Russell Wilson as like an automatic slam dunk last year. I did. I picked him to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think this is any more of a guarantee than Russell Wilson was last year. Nathaniel Hackett's involved again, by the way.
Yeah, he is involved.
And I'm not saying it's going to turn out the same way. I don't think that needed to turn out the way it did in Denver last year. But it did, because sometimes things just don't bounce your way and they couldn't really overcome it. Jets, let's say the Jets get a really tough start to their schedule. Let's say they start Buffalo and Miami. It's 2 tough games. They could be really good and still go 0-2. Is Aaron Rodgers going to say, forget it, just mail it in, collect a paycheck, and then retire at the end of the year? So they could start 2-0, and he says, this is great. I'm sticking it to the Packers, and it's an F you to everybody who said I was done. I'm 50-50 on which way that could go. So that's just where I'm at with it.
RocketMoney.com/PatsBeat. Quick story, as you know, and I've talked about it before on the show, I love watching college basketball. Second favorite sport behind the NFL. So I have ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus is my favorite subscription service because I'm able to watch basically every single college basketball game known to man, whether it's Southeastern Missouri State, who actually plays in the tournament tonight, or Howard, who is also in the tournament. But, all those games under the sun, I love watching them because it's a great product. But so that subscription is great. The other ones, I subscribe to Spotify, Hulu, Disney Plus, all these countless other ones, and I never use them. I was wasting money for a long time, and that's until I found Rocket Money. They allow you to stop throwing your money away. All you got to do is press the big cancel button on the user interface, and it takes care of the rest. It's great. It's super simple, super easy. It's the best app basically I've ever used because All you got to do is put in all your information. They'll tell you what you're paying for, what you're not using, and you can cancel whatever you want. So stop throwing your money away, cancel those unwanted subscriptions, and manage those expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/patsbeat. That's rocketmoney.com/patsbeat. rocketmoney.com/patsbeat. Cancel those unnecessary subscriptions right now. All right, so yeah, the Aaron Rodgers trade is imminent. And look, I'm with you as far as Rodgers is. He's an interesting cat, to say the least, right? He's put Green Bay in quite a bind, and it looks like he's not going to go back there, and that's too bad, and what have you. But I think that Jets team with him is going to be really, really good. I really do. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, 13-3 the last 2 seasons before this, 2 MVPs. Yes, he did have Devontae Adams, but you then put a receiver core around him with Garrett Wilson, who was the rookie of the year last year. Allen Lazard, who is a really solid number 2. You bring in Odell Beckham Jr. as your 3, who can turn into a de facto 1 when he's healthy and ready to go. Mercedes Lewis, hit or miss. Randall Cobb, hit or miss. That's just him doing his friends favors. But that offense will be lethal. Breece Hall, really good. A quality defense, guys like Sauce Gardner. That's the 1A team in. We had this conversation last night, but that's the 1A team in the AFC East, and I think he reasonably, if he moves at least for 1 season, will be on his A game. Aaron Rodgers. You don't know what's going to happen after that, but I think for 1 year, it's worth it because you have no other options as the Jets. It's
a 1-year window. He's going to hate it, New York.
Yeah,
hate it, and maybe he sucks it up through the fall and then leaves. But like that's. So, and I think the contract's only for 1 year too. This is a 1-year thing. This is. Okay. I don't think this is like a long term. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback here the next 3 years, kind of thing.
Okay. He could stay a little bit longer than that, but I understand your point.
Oh, I mean, he could stay, but I think the window to win a title is this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's see. Do you guys have any questions in the chat before we get out of here? Anything on the Patriots and sort of where we can take the conversation before we wrap this up, unless you have any other anything else, Alex?
Oh, I just find this funny. Somebody said Aaron Rodgers winning with the Jets would be legacy changing for him. And I say this as somebody who likes Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers winning would be legacy changing for him. It doesn't really matter where. The guy's got to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
To have the career he's had in 1 Super Bowl is a disappointment. It just is.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got to win.
He's got to win another one.
It could be with the Jets. It could be with the Dolphins. It could be with the Patriots. It could be with the Packers. It could be with whoever. He has to win. Which I'm kind of surprised San Francisco wasn't more involved in this. But
yeah, me too.
There's probably a number of reasons that didn't make sense.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, look at this. Mike's great at reading commercials. Thank you.
You've gotten much better.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do the show a favor. Go to FanDuel.com/Boston. You get $200 in best bets. And go to RocketMoney.com/PatsBeat. And help out the show. So we appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
What else we got?
I'm going to say no to this, but I want to read it anyway. I don't want to be that guy. You can be that guy. And maybe someone has asked, but could it be possible the Patriots are waiting for tomorrow to negotiate with Lamar Jackson? I don't think they're in on it, Alex. I just don't.
It goes against everything we've seen and heard.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the team this offseason.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It would be, you never know what to expect with them, but it would be a major, major, major right turn.
Yeah. And we'll finish with this one. If there's a trade for wide receivers, likely tomorrow or later down the line, what do you think?
I feel like end of this week, beginning of next week. Just call that a hunch. Like, I don't.
Yeah, right.
I've said this before. I think teams are waiting to see. Like, it's a game of chicken right now. Nobody wants to be the first to make the move. And yeah, Jakobi signed, but you don't want to trade Hopkins for something. And then all of a sudden Judy goes for so much more. Like, shoot, we could have gotten more. The other way around, right? I think we're in a bit of a staring contest. I'll add one more thing.
Cool.
Because I've seen this tweet going around, and I would think you people would get at this point that that's a fake account on Twitter.
Yep.
The Patriots leased the planes out in the offseason So it could be there for any number of reasons that have nothing to do with the Patriots. Also, Aaron Rodgers doesn't live in Denver. I have no reason to believe he is in Denver right now. He lives in California.
Yep.
So
He was at, and I know that they can travel fast, but he was at a QB summit workout with Jordan Palmer this weekend, which is in California.
in California.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So let's just leave the CJ Golson alone, please.
Yeah, I would agree. Those of you who don't know, there's a troll Twitter account circulating a picture of the Patriots plane in Denver, and the report was that it was going to. You know what? I'm not even going to say it. It's just going to rile people up.
We've already given it too much attention.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, that's not a thing. The Patriots are not in on Aaron Rodgers. So that's going to do it for us. Unfortunately, the only Patriots news we were able to really discuss today was Jakobi Meyers.
Oh, Miles Bryant got. Oh no, we did do that.
Yeah, we did Miles Bryant.
All right.
We're losing our minds.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was Jakobi, it was Miles Bryant, it was Calvin Anderson, and then we got Jabril Peppers live on the show. We love live breaking news on the show, so you got our instant reaction to that. We're going to be back again tomorrow, because I have a feeling, Alex, I have a teensy feeling that they're going to make a splash tomorrow by the time we're back on the airwaves. So we'll keep you posted. Likely 7 p.m. roughly again tomorrow night. But follow us on Twitter at RealAlexBarth and at Mike Kadlick for updates on that front. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I just want to shout out FanDuel one more time because huge news again here at CLNS Media. They are the presenting sponsor of the Patriots View podcast and all of our audio video content moving forward. So sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. Deposit 10, place 5. Win 200 in bonus bets. Again, they're bonus bets, so you have to use them on bets. You can't withdraw it, but still, you can start, gambling in Massachusetts now, and so use those $200 in bonus bets on us here at Patriots Beat. So, having said that, Patriots lose Jakobi Meyers and sign a tackle and Miles Bryant and Jabril Peppers, and that's it. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk soon. He's Alex Barth. Read him on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Mike Kadlick, CLNS Media. We will see